Another benzodiazepine detected was lorazepam, also commonly known as Ativan. And that was detected at 162 nanograms per milliliter. And remembering that the femoral blood was also quantitated for lorazepam as well, earlier discussed. And that was done by De Quintana as well.
And the last benzodiazepine service on this page?
It's called midazolam, also known as Versed as a trade name, commonly administered in hospitals. And it's reported out as 4.6 nanograms per milliliter by this, Robert Budd as well.
Going then to page 2, which continues with the heart blood results. Beginning then on page 2 with the first service being another benzodiazepine service. Can you explain these results, please?
The nordiazepam actually is a metabolite of diazepam or Valium. And we also detected it at present in less than 0.05 micrograms per milliliter.
And the analyst?
Oh, De Quintana as well.
All right. And that's a metabolite, just as you described. Normiparidine's a metabolite of meperidine?
Yes.
All right. It's something that happens internally in the body?
Yes, it's not prescribed by itself.
Okay. And the next benzodiazepine, please?
Yes, it's called Zaloplon. It's actually a trade name of Sonata. And it's actually really not a benzodiazepine. It's just listed as such, just so that, it happened to be underneath that service where the analyst took care of it. We didn't detect it, and it was by Kremlis Budd.
Okay, and none detected?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the next line, please describe what this service is where it indicates carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide was tested for and reported as less than 10% saturation, which interpretively means it's not present. It's less than what's commonly detected in normal people. Smokers can have up to 10% carbon monoxide in their system.
All right, and you did that analysis?
Yes, I actually did the analysis.
And the next one, again, we're on heart blood for cocaine.
Cocaine, along with all its metabolites, was tested for, not detected by me.
All right.
Cyanide was tested and not detected, and that was by Kremlis Schuchart. Fentanyl was tested. Fentanyl is a potent opiate, a painkiller, and it was tested for and not detected by myself.
Next one.
Tizanidine, it also has a trade name of Xanaflex. It's a muscle relaxant. And it was tested for and not detected by Kremlis De Quintana.
Okay. The next one, halogenated hydro. Is that word cut off or heart?
It's halogenated hydrocarbons.
All right.
Okay. And actually, those next two go together. One of them is called F-chlorovinyl, and the other one's called trichloroethanol. And they're common, well, not so common anymore these days, hypnotics, sedative hypnotics. One of them's chlorohydrate, and they were both not detected by Kremlis Budd.
Okay, going to the next four services, what is LC/MS?
It's an instrument that we use to detect the drugs that we're going to talk about.
All right, and it's unique to these drugs?
It's one way of detecting these particular drugs. There's other means of detecting them, but we certainly confirmed by this instrument that they were not there.
All right, and which four drugs are those as it relates to the LC/MS service?
Clonazepam, along with its metabolite 7-amino clonazepam, as well as oxazepam and temazepam. They're all benzodiazepines. They were all not detected, and they were all not detected by Kremlis Lintamut.
All right, the next line indicating marijuana. Can you describe the results as it relates to marijuana in the heart blood? Marijuana
was tested for specifically its metabolite, the carboxy tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC for short, and it was not detected by myself.
All right. Going then to the methamphetamine, and there are 3 separate methamphetamine services. Can you describe each of those and the results, please?
In the methamphetamine service, we look for very common drugs that we see in society: methamphetamine, amphetamine, ecstasy, ephedrine, pseudoephedrine, over-the-counter type preparations, cold preps. In this particular case, we looked specifically for methamphetamine and its metabolite, amphetamine, but in this particular case, amphetamine is also prescribed out there in society. It's also called Adderall for ADHD type symptoms. But anyways, we looked for and did not find ephedrine, amphetamine, and methamphetamine. And that was performed by an Oscar Pleitez, Pleitez.
All right, and the service for neutrals, and it indicates the drug being propofol. Can you describe the meaning of that, neutrals?
Well, neutrals. I talked earlier about basic drugs, okay? Back to the old chemistry days, drugs are either basic, acidic, or neutral in nature. And that's how we extract out of biological specimens. This class of drugs, neutrals, are more the anti-seizure medications. Other types of drugs we can see in this particular extraction, and it's how we extract out the drugs. In this particular case, I performed the neutral analysis, and I detected propofol, and it was reported out as present because I knew it was going to be quantitated or given a number, a signed number, in a different analysis.
And in fact, it was analyzed as part of the heart blood. Is that right?
Along with many other specimens,
Right.
yes.
Okay, so going then to the page 3 of your report, still continuing with the heart blood. The first service being, well, actually, you could just, if you want to talk about the first 4 opiate services and describe each one individually and the results, please.
Sure. Opiates we looked at as a class of drugs. It actually was a single test that I was able to eliminate 4 different types of drugs from it. Codeine, morphine, hydrocodone, which is also Vicodin, hydromorphone, and they were all not detected by myself.
Okay, you said hydrocodone is Vicodin?
Vicodin. That's one of the many trade names.
All right. And all 4 of these individual opiate services what resulted in none detected?
That's correct.
All right. The next line indicates outside test. Can you describe what that is?
It's a test that we can't perform within our own laboratory. So it's actually referred out to an outside lab. We refer it out. So we actually aliquot out a portion of the blood and send it to another lab to perform this particular drug called hemoglobin A1C. And it's a measurement of diabetic issues.
All right. And the results on that?
5.1%, and it was performed by Quest Diagnostics.
And does that finding have any particular meaning to you as a toxicologist?
It doesn't to me. It may to somebody else, but
okay.
I don't know what it means.
Going next then to oxycodone. Can you describe that test, what it is, and the results, please?
Oxycodone is also known as OxyContin or Percocet, Percodan, as the trade names. And it's an opiate. It's a very potent opiate, and it was not detected as well by Criminalist de Quintana.
Phencyclidine, the next line. Can you describe that and the results, please?
Phencyclidine is also known as PCP on the streets, and it was not detected by myself.
And this next line, then, the propofol, this is still the heart blood, so this is the test that gave you a numerical result as it relates to the heart blood?
Yes.
All right, can you describe this service and the results, please?
The test was performed by Jamie Lindemuth, and quantitatively it was 3.2 micrograms per milliliter
All right.
And then
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
The last service under heart blood, can you describe that one and the result, please?
Salicylates, also known as aspirin, was tested for and not detected by criminalist lintamute.
All right. Now, does that complete the heart blood testing that was done by your lab?
Yes.
And moving this over then, the proceeding forward then, the next services we're going to be discussing all relate to the hospital blood, in other words, from the vials that were collected at UCLA and hand-delivered to you by Alyssa Fleek?
That's correct.
All right. Then going with the first line, please describe the analysis and the results, please.
It's very similar to the heart blood that I just got done describing. It's testing for acetaminophen or Tylenol. That was not detected. And then the next line would be the barbiturates being not detected.
All right. And then first bases test?
There's a whole slew of drugs named under bases. And the first one being diazepam or Valium that we detected in the bases, and it was recorded out as present, not assigned a numerical value here because another analyst would be quantitating it elsewhere.
All right, and the next basis service?
Lidocaine was quantitated and given a value of 0.51 micrograms per milliliter by a Yusin Fu.
All right, and then the next individual basis test for meperidine, which you previously identified as Demerol, the results of that?
Basically, the meperidine and its metabolite, normeperidine, was not detected in the hospital blood by a Yusin Fu. And then the next two lines being Zoloft or sertraline and its metabolite, norsertraline, was also tested for and not detected by the same analyst.
Going then to the fourth page of your report, does that continue with the specimen results for the hospital blood?
It continues on page 4.
For hospital blood?
Yes, sir.
And again, Mr. Anderson, going with, well, let's just, you could probably take us through this rather quickly. But for the propofol at the bottom, showing a 4.1 micrograms per milliliter, is every single test that is shown on this page for the hospital blood resulting in none detected?
Yes, it's very similar to the heart blood analysis.
And just to make sure, have you previously described each of these drugs from the prior heart blood and femoral blood descriptions?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So then, with all the none detected, can you just list off, starting from the drug trazodone, list off each of the drugs that was where there was no detection as it relates to what's shown here in this report?
Sure. In the basis service, we looked for trazodone. We not detected. Cocaine and its metabolites, fentanyl, the 7-aminoclonazepam along with clonazepam, oxazepam, temazepam, dicarboxy-THC, methamphetamine, codeine, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, morphine, phencyclidine or PCP, and then the salicylates also being not detected. The only thing detected in the hospital blood on this particular page was the propofol at a level of 4.1 micrograms per milliliter, and the analyst being criminalist lintamute.
Moving then to the liver specimen.